have notebooks open and available. I'll give you the...
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'll just stand over here. So, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? This is a treat. I don't know if it feels like a treat for you on a Friday, but it's a little bit. I've gotten to work with Miss Finley for maybe 4 years, 3 years.
I think.
Maybe this is our 4th year.
This is either 4 or 5.
Yeah, so we've done this for a while, and the first 4 years when I was here at Casady, I was the technology director. Now I'm teaching 5th grade Spanish, and I'm also teaching 5th grade and 6th grade computers, which is fun. So anyway, I'm really, I love this. I think book writing is fantastic. I published a couple books. My first one was on Amazon in 2011, and then my second one in 2013. I really need to update them. I made about $10,000 on the first book I wrote. It was one of the first educational, like enhanced ebook is what it was called, because it had movies inside it, and it's just really cool to be able to publish books. And so I've self-published. What we're going to do today is go through this website, Book Creator, and hopefully answer some of the questions. There are a few technical things. If you have a newer iPhone, do you all know what format it shoots pictures in? It's not JPEG. Have you ever run into that before? Yeah, HEIC. And guess what? That doesn't import directly. So you can crop your pictures first before you bring them into Book Creator, or there's some websites that you can use. But basically, you are going to be able to not only have your text and your pictures, but your voice as well. This website we started a year or so ago, and it has resources for creating ebooks. Instead of www.casady.org, you can just put student authors, all one word. And it even works on our network. I forgot until Ms. Stone, she's doing 8th grader ebooks. And anyway, we got this working. So it's just a Google site, but you can link to books that have been done before and also see resources. When you think about an ebook, it's actually a container for media. So you all have used zip files before. You download files or zips, that is a container that has stuff in it, and that's really what an ebook is. It has the text, it has images, and it has audio and video. Sometimes enhanced books now will include links or QR codes to go out to like YouTube or somewhere else for the video. The larger, obviously, the media, the bigger the files are, and Kindle books are usually just text. But you can have all of those things in ebooks. So on our website for student authors, you can link, and I think you guys have already seen a lot of examples, so I'm not going to show any, but lots of examples from the past. I loved Lookout Scout. If you haven't seen that, yes, it's just wonderful. Ms. Finley sent you all a code. Did you get that in the email? Okay, that is the secret code that you need, and that's really important because when you make your ebook, you'll want to build it in her library. That way she'll be able to see it as you build it. She'll be able to help you, give feedback. And then when we share these, they'll be shared together in the library. So I like workflows and talking about like little phrases that kind of make sense of the process. And you're already well on your way, I guess, with your planning and your storyboarding. You're done. You're done with what we would call the plan phase. And now you're ready for snap, build, and share. So you are going to be taking or making pictures. You're going to be building them into Book Creator, and then we're going to have a couple ways to share that, not only digitally but also electronically. If you would like now, and it's just up to you, if you have a device, you could open up these tabs. I have put today in your Google Classroom a few different resources, and you don't have to pull these up right now, but you're welcome to if you want. The Book Creator website is one of the links that I have on Google Classroom. And the reason I mentioned Google Drive, what are you all going to build your ebooks on? Do you all have MacBooks or iPads or mostly PC laptops, Windows laptops? You're going to have to figure out how to obviously get your pictures into your book and onto your device. If you're using an iPad, I could take a picture of my artwork on this iPad, and it's right there to go in. But if you're using a laptop, Google Drive might be a good way for you to do that. You can make a folder. You can put the pictures from your phone into Google Drive. You could also AirDrop them. There's several different ways. But on the device that you're going to use to build your book, you're going to need to get those pictures on that device. Now, we've done this a couple times. Have you all ever heard of Lulu.com? Have you heard of?
I told them about it.
Oh, you did? Okay. So there's a lot of more websites than there was, 4 or 5 years ago.
Magically take their books and put it in.
Right. That's what we found was easier because there's a bunch of steps. And if you're interested, there's a video you can access that talks about the steps. But basically, the process is I open up you're able to save it as a PDF. And to print it on Lulu, you have to have the margins exactly perfect. So I just have those preset, change it, save it, and then we put it into Lulu. And so when we get to that part, that's like the last part. So I think this is the best time ever to be an author and to share your ideas. Anybody know who this gentleman is? Mm-hmm. Gutenberg, that's right. So the Gutenberg Press, revolution. We can all be publishers now. Of course, we've learned with elections and disinformation and things, there's a dark side to all that too. We are going to be using what's called a publish-on-demand platform. Vanity Publishing, have you heard of this before? People can take advantage of you, of course, in a lot of different financial ways. And one way would be saying, oh, yes, you need to give me $5,000 and I'll publish your book. And there have even been some companies here in Oklahoma that have gotten in some trouble doing that. And so if you are going to go on and publish more, or you know someone else who will, I'd say be wary of people that want to charge large amounts of money to say I can publish your book, because you can publish it directly via Lulu, directly via Amazon. There's still traditional publishing. What I've learned is the traditional publishers, if you're Barack Obama or you're someone famous, you're going to get a big advance. You're an established author. They're going to give you money up front. But for most people who aren't, they're not. And they're going to market your book, and they're going to help you with some of your marketing. But traditional publishing is no longer the only way to go. And Vanity Press, that means you're just paying to basically get your book published. I'm a big fan of being able to publish and having artistic freedom. If you go with a traditional publisher, it's beneficial, of course, to have an editor, but you can also hire somebody to edit for you. You can hire somebody on different kinds of websites. You can have a friend do it, but you have full artistic freedom. I have friends who've written books, and publishers sometimes even change their titles. They change things, and they don't have as much freedom. So there's trade-offs. But it's easy for this to be complicated. I just want to tell you about 3 formats. The Word file document or a Google Doc, great for editing. You guys have created it in Google Docs, is that where you all wrote? So that's awesome. What we're going to do now is we're going to move that into an ebook format. PDF is really great for printing because it has fixed margins. I think a lot of times it embeds the fonts in there. If you get it looking like you want in the PDF, that's how the printout looks. And that's how we will send it to Lulu as a PDF. But this is what we'll put the media enclosures in. And Book Creator actually makes both kinds. So you've already done pretty much, I think, the hardest part of writing the book. But are you going to make your art now or decide how to get your pictures? So there's tough stuff still to figure out. So you're kind of not fully in build. You're in create mode as well. So this is pretty important. Let me just do it right now. This is the Book Creator website. This is app.bookcreator.com. And when you tap this button right here to do a new book, ta-da, it asks you, what size do you want? Okay? Warning, if you choose one and then change your mind, you can't very easily move stuff over to the other one. That's why it's good to have all of your pictures in a Google Drive folder or somewhere. But my favorite one is actually this first choice, portrait. I like how, and I think, I don't know if I have the Scout book in here or not, but I like how on some of those books, no, I didn't open it up before I came, so you can have an image on 2 pages. So if I create this book, here's my cover page, and then there's actually a dotted line here, which is hard to see, but I can put a picture in here that covers the entire thing, and of myself. Oh, let's do the lake day before yesterday. Wasn't that amazing with 70-degree weather? So you'll decide how you're going to chunk your text, how much you want to have on one page, and if you want to use. So here's this lovely picture. If I want to, I can have that entire picture cover both pages, and then I can put a text box in here what lovely weather we had earlier this week at Casady School. So that's kind of how the building process works. You tap the plus here whenever you're adding something, and like I said, with this particular 2x3, I could have my page like this. There's one page, there's another page, but if you choose that one, you can actually size it. The thing to be aware of, and I think Ms. Finley mentioned this to you, is when you print this on Lulu, it has, you see all the gutter margin? I think, is that right, Ms. Finley? The gutter?
Yep.
Yep, there it is.
So here's one, where that was one whole picture, and here's your son. It was one whole picture, but this was Caroline Leonard, so by last year we knew about this, so
Yep.
they were real intentional about not having any important images close to that center.
That's exactly right.
The one I showed you, the clumsy cloud, remember, we didn't know about it then, and that's why a lot of his are like
They're cut.
the face is split in half.
Yep. So yeah, that's the thing to remember. You don't want to put a main picture element there in the center if you go with that. Okay, so that's going to be the first choice that you're gonna have is what size do you want. You can print any of these on Lulu, but you know, portrait.
But is it right, Dr. Fryer, that if they want even just one time in the book to have a full spread, they have to choose?
I think that is
right?
correct. The portrait is the only
I think
one
that's
that will do
what-
that. We've learned that the hard
Hard
way.
way,
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, the portrait's the only one that'll do it.
The 2x3 is the only one that you can pick in terms of the ratio, that portrait 2x3. That's the only ratio you can pick to build your book in if you want to
Do
even
that.
have one time in your book a full
Uh,
picture.
Otherwise, if you pick these other formats, it's just going to have a single page at a time. It's
Which
not
will
gonna
all,
give you
like this one that I showed you that Kian did, every time this is a picture, this is a picture.
Yeah.
What software
This is
did
a
she
picture,
do that
this is
in?
a picture.
The
2x3.
No,
the
but
art.
she did the art. Did she take
Oh,
pictures of it?
he made all of his art with construction paper that he cut out, and I actually saw him do it on his floor, because he's my nephew, on his bedroom floor. He moved him around, took a picture with his iPhone, and then moved him around again and took another picture. He just saved all of his pictures. So he only cut out like one bear and one beaver, and the water and the tree.
Which book is that?
Kian Step.
Is that last year's?
When did Kian graduate? I should know. He's my nephew, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And he occasionally added some things in that Dr. Fryer will show you, like in Book Creator. Once you've already put your picture in, you can add some things on top of it, like this thought bubble.
Yep.
That's really cool.
So it was real easy art, just cutting out construction paper.
Okay, well, you're on step 5. But you're going to be deciding your aspect ratio for your book. And again, you can't readily, you're going to have to rebuild it if you end up changing which aspect ratio or size that you want. So here are your steps. Next, you're going to want to use that code that Ms. Finley sent you to join Book Creator. And then you're going to be in the library for the class. You're going to create your book, choosing your size. And really, I mean, the next step is almost not doing that. It's just making your art and taking your pictures, because this is the building part. When you get to this point, you really want to have all of your pictures. Take lots of pictures of food. You're going to want to have all your pictures gathered together on your device. So you might have a folder that you create or you can airdrop them, but you're going to want to have all of your pictures on the device that you are building your book on. Okay, and most of you probably wouldn't build on an iPad, but actually now with Safari you can. You could build on the function is going to be the same wherever you build. One thing I'll say is we're going to record our voices, and the quality of your microphone does make a difference. So if you're on like a Chromebook, you might want to be on a different computer with a better microphone. Macs tend to have great mics. So if you're on any kind of Mac laptop or iPad, you can also plug in headphones. The earbuds on a Mac will just work and plug in. But as long as you're in a quiet place, you don't really need to do that. You can just record right with the computer's built-in microphone, and that should work. When you are going to bring anything into your book, you're going to be clicking this nice plus. There's a design term I've learned called layered complexity. And that means there's a lot of complexity to this, but they don't put it all up front. It's kind of layered. So it's always the plus and these choices. And you can dig deeper into these, but this is how you're going to bring everything in. So import was what I just did to bring in this picture. If I'd like to do text like I did at the bottom, I said text box. I can also record. So I can tap record and give permission. If you don't click allow the first time, and that's on your computer as well, does anybody know what setting you go to now to allow that? The privacy, I think, control panel. They've got a privacy setting, and you have to choose your microphone and say, yes, I let Book Creator use my microphone. And so now I can start recording, and you could actually have multiple recordings, but like this is way late, right? You're going to be building your book first with all of your pictures, all of your text, and then at the end, probably, is when you'll record. Gives you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. What lovely weather we had earlier this week at Casady School. Stop. I can play it. What lovely weather we had earlier this week at Casady School. If I don't like it, I can delete it. If I like it, I click use. And what it will do is put this little dot here, and I can decide, I can decide how big or small that is. And you arrange these elements however you want. When you have selected an element like this, the eye is going to give you more information and give you more choices. So make sure you've selected what you want to change. Tap the eye. I just tapped off of it. And so now I could increase my font size. I can change my color. I can change my font. I can do a bunch of things, okay? You also are going to want to pay attention, of course, to contrast and make sure that if anything's overlapping, you can readily read it. Maybe I really want this picture to fill the entire screen. If I was going to do that, that text isn't going to work, is it? So if I select it, anybody have any ideas what I could do to make that more readable, besides making it bigger?
Box?
Yep, white with a box. Yes, I can choose background. So I can choose a background color, and now I've got a dark font and I've got a light background, and I can read that. I would recommend that you pick a font to consistently use through your book, okay? And that's just a design element that, having a bunch of different fonts and stuff like that can be distracting.
I want you to pick a font that you use for the whole book. The only time you can change that is if you have something like Honk or Eureka, something like that that's different. Other than that, choose the same font.
Right. So these are just different elements that you have on top of or underneath each other that you can move around. And you can also, when you tap the eye, choose to move it forward or back. So if you don't want that to, if you need it to move, that's how you do it. You do everything there with the eye. Okay? All right. So you've typed it in Google Docs. So you're going to want to open up, and I don't know, we're not in with the iPads, all our 6th graders now have iPads. And so we found that Safari works better than the app. But, open up your document. Hopefully I don't have to put in my password. Select the document that you would like. Let's look at my learning guide for computers. And you're going to be able to highlight whatever text you would like. Copy that text, and then in Book Creator, to make a new page, you tap here on the plus. When you tap pages here, it only makes really 3 pages for you when you start. It has a cover, and then it has pages 2 and 3. So you can start moving things around if you change the order, but the cover stays there. You can't move something in place of the cover. But when I'm ready for another page, I just click the plus. I can bring in the picture that I would like from Files. Let's bring in some grilled chicken. Our Wi-Fi is so much faster this year.
Dr. Fryer, how do you bring in something and put it only on, since this is giving you 4 and 5, how do you put it on just page 4 exactly and not 5, and how do you know where that line is?
So it's hard to see just because of this, this older projector bulb, but there is a dotted line that separates those, and so you're gonna tap your picture, use the handles here in the corner to stretch, and then you'll just make sure that it's here. It will give you a little red line that will pop up, a guideline.
Okay.
It'll also tell you the middle, so when I'm in the middle of that page, it'll help me center it. And as long as you've got it on that side
What
of the
about if
line.
you just wanted to make the background of the left page solid blue,
Uh-huh.
and the background of the right page solid red?
Okay.
How do you do that?
So we're gonna tap away because we don't want to change this picture. We want to just be on these pages. And then when I tap the eye, I can choose to select my page color. I don't know. It's a good question.
That's what I was just having trouble with the other day, playing around with how to make
Yeah.
the background of one page something and the other page something.
Yeah, I think that when they're side by side like this, they actually do have to have the same color. You're gonna run into some different limitations like this for this app. There are, of course, much more complicated ways to be able to create that give you more choices. I think that's a limitation, you know,
Okay.
that you can't have a separate,
So, but
Can you
if
do
you're
it in a
building in
different
the other
size?
ratios, you can, but then you can't ever have a full.
You can't have a full
So you
one.
kinda have to pick.
Yep, that's right. So here's a text box. I copied my text out of that Google document. So I'm just going to paste, well, that's really meaningless, but anyway, that's just an example, copying and pasting. So that's gonna be your process. You don't have to retype if you don't want to. You can just copy and paste it, but you're gonna do it kind of page by page. Yes?
So how do you, like, if I were making my artwork, how do I know that it's gonna be the right size? Cause like that picture, the square photo, like,
Right.
doesn't fill the whole page.
In terms of the resolution, like whether, or you're talking about the aspect ratio as far
I
as
just
the
mean, like,
shape?
Aspect ratio.
I mean, like, tangible artwork, like, how, is it actually, like, 2:3 the ratio, or, like, how do I know, like, the dimensions?
Yeah, 2:3 is the aspect ratio of the printed book. So it's,
Like, what are the actual dimensions, do you know?
Okay, so the printed book is 2:3 aspect ratio, but then obviously when you open it,
a full.
Like you can zoom in
So,
and
like,
out of your photos.
yeah.
All the ratios.
And for what we're doing, resolution wise,
So
you
it's
can
up to the ratio,
crop
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can crop them, and you can pinch to zoom to change the size. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Like what the actual
okay,
pixel.
the physical book all the way across is 12 inches.
Okay. So it's
That's
like,
that's for a full bleed something.
But I can do a little research about that and find that out. I can find out how many pixels in Book Reader.
Maybe like
By
30 by 20
9.
inches or like 2 by 3 inches. Like I think.
yeah, I'm just thinking that, like, whenever, like, for example, if you're posting something on Instagram, and the photo, it was, like, taken on Snapchat, it's, like, super tall.
Right.
But then if the photo's taken in camera roll, the photo's, like, actually a different size.
Right.
So I was
So
just
so
wondering.
you can crop your pictures. It depends on how you want them to look. You're probably going to have text along with the image, so it's going to be fine that your image doesn't fill the whole thing, but it also just depends on the look that you're trying to get. Maybe you do want an image that fills the whole thing. So I can find that out and put that in Google
Okay,
Classroom
this, for
to find out what the
instance,
pixel size
Here's
would be.
drawings. This was Margot Nafee. So she did all of her drawings in crayon, and they didn't fit the ratio, but that was fine for her because she always did the text on one side, this says on the other, and then you just had the.
But you do
border.
want to think about portraits. So like if you were doing
got
that
it.
size, you might be thinking about shooting your pictures
Okay.
portrait mode, you know, instead of having it
Right.
landscape on the side.
But so if it doesn't fit, it'll just look some, you know.
Okay.
Okay, so you're copying and pasting your text, and then we'll post an assignment. When we get to this point, we're going to ask you to turn in 2 versions of your final book. The first one you'll turn in is going to be a PDF, because that's what we're going to do with Lulu, and I will do these margin things to get it formatted, and I will send you a link that will let you order it. Usually these books are about $5 and the shipping is about as much as the book costs. Which, didn't you have some Kinko's ones one time that were like $100 or
Oh my
something?
God, yes, the ones that I showed you, like Little One's Journey, and it was getting out of hand with money, which is when I contacted Dr. Fryer and said, can you help me help students stay under $10 with printing?
We do know, though, that we've got to order them early, so, and I'm sure we're working with that as far as deadlines and
We're
stuff.
not
'cause
as pressed with time this year because we can't physically read to the kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna do a virtual, they're
Okay.
each gonna record themselves as the author,
Oh,
giving
okay.
a little
Cool.
bit about their book, and then they'll
Yeah.
have their voice recording, and we'll
Awesome.
send that to kindergarten.
Super cool. If you all want any help with that in terms
Yep,
of,
I'll
be happy to
yes,
help with
I
that.
will.
Yep. All right, cool. Okay, so you're gonna, when you're done with your book, you're going to get a PDF. How will you do that? So let's look at a finished book from last year. What book do y'all want to look at?
Let's see.
Marauders of the Golden Wind.
Oh, you're looking
I've
at
got
it.
it.
I thought you meant me.
Let's look at the painting page. Okay. Down here at the bottom, in Book Creator, you will be tapping on that to, of course, put the name of your book. It will automatically have your name from Google here. This little symbol is sort of the universal share symbol. It looks like a less than sign or a Pac-Man mouth, and it has dots on it. That's share. So, when you are ready to share it, download as an ebook is going to be the second one. That one is going to have the audio. This one that says print is going to make a PDF of your file, and that's what you're going to turn in Google Classroom, okay? This is a PDF file. It doesn't have the audio, but it has all of the text, and this is also where you can look at it to make sure things aren't cut off, you know, and it's not, this isn't going to have the facing pages. I don't remember which one she chose.
This is Allie Bohannon's, and it was I think it
It was a rectangular or a
was
square.
like this. I don't know if I have it
Yeah.
with me, but it came out, it was like that size.
Yep. Okay. So that's the first one that you'll turn in, and you'll send that to me, and then I'll send it back to you. You'll be able to preview it, make sure it looks okay, and then you can order it on Lulu. The next step will be to go ahead and record your voice, and then you'll turn in the second version, which is the EPUB, and then that will be your final version.
I think the Lulu also, when you move from the Book Creator to Lulu, if you have this aspect ratio, you do have a white band at the top and the bottom. You know, again, it's just moving from
It's
one
not
different
perfect.
application to the
Yeah.
other, but it's.
And it's
you
a
know,
$5.
printing under $10.
It's a
good,
it's a
so.
less than $10 book. These are all the steps I'll do. We've tried this before. It's easier to just kind of do this piece for you. But if you're interested, there's some stuff about how to do it because you really just have to change the margins in the PDF so that it matches Lulu. Lulu has its own specific, you know, margin perfect sizes that you've got to have, and then when you do, it prints them. Okay. So there's fancier things that you can use. Like Scrivener, has anybody heard of that? If you're interested in taking your authorship further, Scrivener is amazing. It's like way better than Word, and screenwriters, there's screenwriter software too. But I've written one of my books with it. It can be complicated, but it's also really detailed. InDesign, is anybody using that with Adobe Creative Cloud? If you've taken an art class, or even if you haven't, we have licenses for 500 Adobe Creative Cloud licenses. Every upper division student and teacher can have that. So if you don't have that and you want it, you can send an email to helpdesk@casady.org, and we can give you an account because we've paid for all of those. But this is definitely another level of what we're talking about here. I mean, it's much more complicated.
Wes, for those students who are already familiar with InDesign and want to use that to create their art,
Fantastic to create art,
just
yeah.
put it from there into Book Creator?
Is
I
that
would
like
recommend that. InDesign would be like to replace Book Creator, to use that as your post-production page layout software. But yeah, if you use Photoshop, if you use any of those tools, I'll show you a couple free tools that are online. But if you know how to use Photoshop or Illustrator, yeah, just export those as JPEGs, and then you can bring them right into Book Creator and use them. So.
I think that is what the Lookout Scout, or I know she created all the artwork on the computer and on the Illustrator or something
Right.
like that.
Yep. And then saved them properly as JPEGs. So there's other places to publish, Smashwords, Blurb. I think CreateSpace is gone, actually. I think Amazon's changed that. That was their direct publishing. And this is also just kind of fun. Audiobooks. Well, this is self-publishing, I guess this is an audio. One of our assistants was just talking to me. She's written a book and she wants to record. Amazon has a whole website where if you want to find somebody who will record your book, they'll do that. You can record. This is like a job of the 21st century. Be
What do you
anywhere
mean
you want
record?
to. Be the voice. To be a
Oh,
voice of
okay.
an author. It's called, like, I just sent her ADX, I think. It's Amazon's community for audio, but KDP is their self-publishing, where you can publish ebooks, you can publish paperbacks, but then there's this whole other audio, which I haven't done that with any of my books before, but I want to. And again, it's an awesome time to be writing books, creating books, sharing books, because there's so many different ways to do it. And you don't have to convince a publisher in New York City that my book needs to be published. You can publish it. It can be on Amazon. Even if it's just your family that orders it. You know, we've talked about family reunions and doing some things like that, just with like stories of our family. It doesn't matter. We don't have to have 100 people buy it, but if people who are really interested in that want it, you can. And there's fewer limitations that you have on that than ever before. So that's really all I have for the presentation. I do want to show you the resource page though, so let me show you that. I'm going to go to Google Classroom and change my silly account. I got to get that account deleted. If you look under classwork, I didn't post any assignments. These are all just posted as materials. And so here on your Google Classroom, under classwork at the bottom, I created a new topic, which I just said was resources for creating ebooks. This is just the link to Book Creator. That's a video of this presentation from a while back if anybody was gone, or if you want to see part of this again or whatever, because I think this is pretty similar to what we've done before. But image editing tools is what I want to show you, which I just moved.
That is what you all need, for sure.
And so image editing tools is this link. And this is our student authors at Casady.org. When you first come to this page, here's the home page, all right? And this isn't fancy. I probably should work with Brandon Crosno and make this a little fancier. But there's a library of books, so it's mainly Miss Finley's 12th graders, and then our third graders. Mrs. Fryer is a third grade teacher, and they did animal research books. We might get some of Miss Stone's 8th graders too. So that's there, but image editing is what I want to show you. So a couple really cool websites that we've found. We talked about the HEIC format for the phone. So if you don't want to just crop your picture on photos, you can go to this website. This is more on a laptop, it's easier. Just drop your picture here and it makes it a JPEG, okay? Because Book Creator will not import, at least the last time I tried, it didn't import the HEIC format pictures, but it'll do JPEGs. This one is pretty cool, remove background. So if you are,
This one's fantastic.
if you're doing characters, okay, you upload a picture, and let's see if we can find one that, I don't know what this is. Okay, those are tamales. This kind of looks, this works best when you have a solid background, because what it does is it just removes that, just like Photoshop, and then you can move that wherever you want, and it doesn't have a square around it. So if you're going to have characters and you're going to repurpose those, or people have done that, this is really nice. And you don't have to pay for this. If you pay, you get the HD version, but what we found with Book Creator is that works absolutely fine, okay? Which this isn't like the most
Max has a question
wonderful
for you,
example.
Dr.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we does Book Creator export PNGs or does it have to be JPEGs?
That's a good, well, actually, no, yes, it does, because these are PNGs. So
Okay.
these transparent images are PNGs.
So if I do artwork on my iPad and save it as
Uh-huh.
a PNG?
Yep,
it should
you
work.
can bring either one. So I'm gonna, in fact, I'll do one right now. So I'm gonna go to Import, Files, Library, and this is a PNG
Okay.
that was just, the background was just removed. Look at that, isn't that cool? So I mean, that's the size of the whole picture, but it made everything else transparent. The picture you want to try to have as uniform a background as possible. So if you make felt characters, or you have some kind of character and you cut them out, put them on a uniform, solid color that's not the color of the characters, because it's going to cut that out, and then that will work. So that's a really good find, and we've
Graham has a question
enjoyed
for you,
using that
Dr.
one.
I also, I used to do that like for some of my projects. You can do it on Word also, and then you can also choose what you want.
Ooh,
to
really?
do.
Word
Like,
will,
yeah,
Word will
Word,
remove.
like,
How do you do that on Word?
I don't know, like there's like this button like edit image and then you click remove background and then like
Cool.
there's like these little minus signs that you like put wherever you want to like delete the
Just
stuff.
That's awesome. I didn't know that, so that's good. In terms of image editing, you can download software, but Pixlr is a free web-based, Pixlr X, a free web-based image editor. And so you can open up an image, and then you can edit it. Of course, you can crop right on your iPhone, but there are some fancier things that you can do. This isn't Photoshop, so it doesn't have all the power of that, but if you're wanting to think about the size, like I'm going to want my pictures to be vertical, but they're not, you could take them into this program, and then you could crop them to resize them. It's taking a minute for this to download. Okay, so here's my picture. Let's do it in its full size. Maybe, okay. And so now, these are all tools. This is a crop tool, so I could tap that, and then I can drag and decide, you know, and this is not going to have to be super precise as far as I'll find out what the size is, but let's say I want to cut out the spoon. This is the Waldorf salad that my wife requested this week that I made. There it is. There's a cropped version of my Waldorf salad, and I can view that. It's just big, but and so now, when I've added it to my photos, I can come put it on my page. And it's gonna have that aspect ratio.
Oh, so that fits like really well.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what you might be thinking about if you are going to use this and you wanted the whole, you know, image to fill the screen. But like I said, you might not. You might end up, you know, having it a little bit smaller, having your text box below it. You just kind of decide. I think that's about it. There's a program you could download if you have a Mac or a PC called GIMP. It's like Photoshop, but it's free. It's open source. And then I already said Adobe Creative Cloud. If you haven't worked with Photoshop and that stuff before, I wouldn't jump into that. It's just more complicated than you need. But if you know how to use it, you can have it. I mean, as long as it's great to be a student. When you stop being a student, you have to pay for Adobe stuff. It's expensive. So it's nice to be able to have the student licenses. That's why they want you to do it, right? So you'll love it and you'll pay for it when you're out of school.
Also, just like how you saw Dr. Fryer, you know, make a fake book and play around for a little bit before you do your real thing. So like, whatever size paper you think you're going to be making your drawings on, just quickly get out a crayon, draw a tree in water, take a picture, and try to do what you're going to do. And see, you know, play around with it first before it's actually your real book for a little bit. And then you can just delete the pages.
Yep. And you'll be able, when you join the library, you'll be able to select that library. That library is where you're going to want to create your actual book. And I actually need to delete these out of here because we don't want to leave them in here, but because this is last year's library. But yeah, that's a fantastic idea. My first book was called Playing with Media because I think we, just like Ms. Finley did, she played around with Book Reader, got a little bit better idea of what, you know, how it works, how to import, how to move stuff around, how to resize it.
You'll see when you join my Book Creator library. Yesterday, I spent about 30 minutes just taking the clumsy cloud that you're already all familiar with, and I just took Will's illustrations as my, you know, thumbnails, but started from scratch, and I only used what's available in Book Creator. I didn't even use any images from the web or anything else.
Yeah.
I just used the tools that they have available.
Like the shapes.
And I started making a book for 30 minutes, and I got like 4 spreads in pretty quickly. Just using what they have. Just so, and when you join, you'll be able to see that one. So you can see if you want to do something that simple and quick and just use their own whatever, it's great.
Yeah, so again, I'm glad you mentioned that because under Plus, in addition to importing stuff, you could draw. I would draw in another program, but you can. They have shapes, and that's where the speech bubbles are. There are arrows, and so especially if you wanted to do something like comic bookish.
Dr. Fryer, can you go back to media and pick, draw, or pick the pen tool?
Uh-huh.
Pick the pen tool. Okay, and you go to the very last one where the last pen down there where you see all those little images.
Okay, yeah.
This is something I just found out yesterday that was fantastic. So,
Is this auto draw?
draw like a,
Whoa, you get
draw like a dolphin, and it says, "Is this what you're trying to draw?" And I was like, "Yes, it is. There's my dolphin."
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Google.
And then if you
That's
click over on
awesome.
emoji
I'm
at
not
the
going to be
top,
able to draw very good. I'm going to draw a duck.
yeah, it's gonna find you a duck. If it's anywhere close to it, it will find you a duck.
It's not thinking that's a duck.
I think it will. It's gonna find it.
If I say done, will it
Yes.
do it?
Oh no.
There you go. Look at that.
I think
That
it's because you
impressive.
were drawing with a regular pen instead of the
This
magic
spread
pen.
is really coming
Okay,
This is
together.
coming together. I'm feeling really good about
The
this.
Waldorf salad, some
Yeah.
chicken, a duck.
Okay, so go back
yum.
to here. It's because you were using a regular pen instead of what I'm calling now the magic pen.
Okay, I'm going to do a new page.
Go to the plus, go to pen, and pick this magic pen.
Oh. the
I call it the magic pen.
pen.
Okay, would you like to
Now
draw
start-
something?
Yeah, oh yeah. Here we go. Watch this.
Actually, here, I'll give you my pen. I think it'll.
Because what? I can draw with a pen?
I really wanted to
I
get
mean,
one.
charge. They'll tell us there at the top.
Yeah.
Apple pencil, 19%.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
It's gonna figure out somehow that this is an airplane.
You're using
It might think
Siri.
it's a fish.
You're using
It does.
Siri.
Yeah. Look, there's a
Look,
plane.
look, at the top.
Did you mean? Oh.
Siri.
Dude, I just got an airplane.
Look at
This is
that.
excellent.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know how to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then if it's,
It also
it'll,
thinks it's a seal or something.
Or a trump. Or a trumpet.
did you mean waves? Yep, I did.
Well, actually, have you all
Yes,
used?
I did.
Have you all used Jamboard
Yes.
yet? Jamboard is built into Google Drive or Google Docs Drive, and on the iPad it has auto draw. So we've been having
Siri is
some fun.
having a
Okay,
great
so
time.
now-
I need to put something like that in
Oh, yeah.
When you
Procreate.
search emojis, they got so many emojis I use too. Like I put little people on the beach for Will's. Like I picked a little person doing yoga.
There's a surfer.
Oh look, there's someone like.
Your iPad is at 10%.
got the British voice.
Must be time to
So
finish.
you can pick all these little things. You'll see when you get in the Book Creator. I just started playing around
That's
with like
awesome.
building Will Bennett's book and only using what's here in Book Creator. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's great. There's a dolphin. There's a person playing on the beach. So even without doing a lot of other things, there's quite a bit available to you there.
Nice. All right. Any questions? I am here to help you virtually, and then when you need me, I can come back and we can talk about as far as videos and that kind of thing. But so glad you all are doing this. Children's books are great, right? I mean, you're probably here because you had at least one children's book that you loved, and it's so cool to be able to create them and share them. And the fact that you guys will do that with primary kids, even though it'll be at a distance, it's still really cool.